Hi friends, welcome to tutorial days, and in this video I am going to explain about observables and observer. So you will learn that what is difference between observables and observer. This is one of the most confusing question for any new Angular learner, and also this kind of questions is asked in interview. So it is important that if you understand this properly, then you will be able to work on the project, as well as you will be able to answer the question if you are asked in interview. If you follow this video properly, then I'm sure that you won't have problem in understanding this. It's very simple. If you see here, we can say observable is actually the producer where the data is stored or produced, and observer is consumer. That is the basic difference, very basic difference. It's consumer actually here. Okay, so this is the major or the main difference. And also you can see this is source of the data which is consumed from observer. So that's it, that's the major difference. Now let's take the example and understand this with example. Suppose you are watching the video in my channel, and this is called tutorial Riz. So what happens here, regularly I upload videos in this channel. So what is this is source of information. That means this channel regularly receives the data, new data always receives this tutorial raise. That means uh, I always upload the videos in this, so this is source of information. Now what happens, there are different user of YouTube user which watches like you, which watches my videos. Suppose user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. Okay, so these are the users uh, which regularly watch my video. So here in this case we will call here this tutorial raise as observable. Okay, and anyone who is watching my videos will be called here observer. So as you can see, this is the data producer, and then okay, so now you understand that what is observable and what is observer. Now there is one more important thing here. Suppose there are thousands of visitors or YouTube users who watches my video, but all users does not subscribe. So still you have not subscribed my channel, and I request you to please subscribe my channel. But there are few guys who watches my video but doesn't subscribe. So what will happen, whenever I upload a new video, then the notification will go to only to those users who has subscribed my channel, right? Not, for example, this user has not subscribed, so YouTube will not send any notification to this user. So what is this? There are three parts. The first part is observable, that means source of information, and the second one is observer, that means anyone who have subscribed the data, only those users will get notification for watching the video. Now let's understand this with code example. So what happens here, this is API URL, right? So the data will be fetched from this API, and then it will return observable. What it is, what does it mean? That data, suppose data came here, and it will be, after fetching, it will be stored here in observable. Okay, so observable here is like a reservoir, like a tank, like a bucket where data is stored. After storing the data, after getting the data, the subscriber, anyone who has subscribed, will get this data. So how? Suppose this is component.ts, this is service.ts file, and this is component.ts file. Now this component.ts file will get the data. So how this will be? This dot user service, that means the service name, get users. Okay, this function will be called here, and then subscribe, right? This is more, this is subscribe method. If has subscribed, only then the data will receive this component.ts. And after this, the data will be stored here, and finally this data will be shown here, component.html. So this is how this observable and observer works. Now let's see with practical example. Suppose this is a fake API. Okay, so this API, as you can see in this data, it has ID, name, year, color, and then Pantone value, same like name. So they are different. So this is the data, right? So now this data will be stored in observable and it will be consumed by any component. So I will show you with practical example. For that, let's open here command prompt and let's install a new project here to understand this. cd angular class, cd angular class. Now ng new observable, okay, example. So let's create a new project called observable example. Yes. Now let's write here cd then observable, then npm start. After this, let's open here Visual Studio Code. And then let's close it, close my previous folder. Open folder, Angular class, inside this observable example. Okay, so this is our project directory. Now what we will do, let's create here one service called ngg service data. We have to create one service to consume, which will receive the data. Okay, so now this service file is created here, and we will write the data, we will write the code here. And one more thing, we need to create here one class file. Okay, model. Okay, so users.ts. So here export class, export class users. Now let's see what are the data fields. So ID, name, year, right? Then ID, or we can call it interface as well. So first thing will be ID, number, and then name, then here string, and what else, name, color, and Pantone value. So it will be color, then string, and Pantone value, so it will be number. Now let's get back to service file. So we will call here import user, it's user, right? import users from users. And here let's write here this function, the code we were talking. Okay, so we are getting error, so we need to call this observable import from RSJS. This is a RSJS is a library where this observable, from where this observable we will import. Also here private http, then http client module, http. So we have to call this http client, and also we need to import this here, import http client, and same this http client we need to call here, and we are creating an instance of this. And here of course we need to call the URL. So which URL will call here? So let's call this URL here in our application, right? Okay, so now let's create here ngGC component called about, okay, or ngGC user list, So inside this user list, let's open this TS file here. First thing that we need to import here is this data service, not this one. Let's close it. Import data service, from service file, okay. And here in constructor we need to write private data service, then data service, this one, okay. And here we will subscribe the data, so we will write here this dot data service dot get users dot subscribe. Here subscribe, then data or user subscribe, then users, then users, the small users, then the capital users. So let's import users from users, okay. So these users we are calling here, okay. So here we need to provide parenthesis get users then subscribe. Inside subscribe we will write here users, then users, and then there will be in here there will be square bracket. So here what we are doing, we are subscribing our service from here, right? So this is observable and this is observer. Here subscriber is observer. Now if this user, if console.log here, then write here users and see what is the result. Now let's run the application. 9 p.m. start. Okay, so this is your application. And one more thing we need to do, this users list, we need to call this in app component, right? App component.html, where is that? App component, let's delete everything, and then here app component we will call, and also in its user list component.html we will run here ng4. So ul, then li. So here we will write ng4 equals to user of users. This is not required actually, so just remove it. User of users. Okay, so what is its name? Its name is actually, let's do one thing. Let's write here this dot users, then, but before that let's check into console, right? Then we will for the time being let's delete it, or let's comment here. Okay, no problem, we can write here. So it will be small users of users, and then this users will be not this dot users, then users, and then let's check here it's data, right? So inside that we will write here data, users dot data, and we need to declare here users on the top. So okay, so let's do one thing here, we can write any if you're getting this error. So now we will run here. Okay, this is fine, and user list, now it's fine, and here we will display this name. Okay, user dot name, user dot. Okay, so let's do one thing, just comment this, and users dot data, user of users. Okay, so it's user. 1 second, here the data list we have users, right? There's users, so we will write here users of user of users. Okay, so this will be user. And one more thing, if you see here we are getting the error http null pointer. So what we will have to do, let's go to app component.ts, app module, in fact here. So we need to import here, import http client module, http client module from http common, and then let's import this and check here. Okay, so the name is not coming, the data is showing here li. So ng4 late user of users, so this is the list actually, this users list. Okay, and now let's check here. You can see it is displaying the data, right? So why this data is being displayed here? Because this has subscribed the data. Okay, so this is subscriber, that means this is observer, and this service file, this one is observable. So as I mentioned before, the observable is source of data. That means whatever data is coming from here, first this is stored here and in this bucket or reservoir. So we are fetching the data, we are subscribing the data from this component. So this way it works, observable and observer. So this is how, if we come back once again here, how did it work? So this is your service file and this is your subscriber component or observer. Okay, so hope you understand that how observables and observer works and what is difference between these two. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.